Before you perform the first chunk, or really anything on the trumpet, you want to make sure that you have the correct posture. You can discover the correct posture by changing how you're sitting slightly. Try leaning forward in your chair and you'll feel tension in your body. And if you lean back, in the middle, the tension goes away. If you lean further back, find that tension again, and then lean forward, and right in the middle is that sweet spot where there's no tension, and that's really where you want to sit when you're playing. A great way to develop your trumpet sound is to learn to get a good buzz on just the mouthpiece alone. The first thing we need to know is how to hold the mouthpiece. I recommend using your weak hand. So if you're right-handed, you'll hold it with your left hand, and if you're left-handed, you'll hold it with your right hand. Hold it with one finger on top, the thumb on the bottom, and then 3 fingers pointing up into the air. This allows you to hold it with the smallest amount of pressure. You don't want this to be a very physical thing. It needs to be flowing. In terms of the mouth, you want to start by saying M, and then you can blow through that. M. Now that's really to form your embouchure for the very first time. After just a few days, you'll kind of get used to that. Then when you actually start with the mouthpiece, you want to take a very open breath, like whoa. That's how you want to breathe in. Let me demonstrate. And you want the sound to be open and resonant. And that's a great way to develop your sound. One additional note about mouthpiece buzzing and mouthpiece placement is you want it to be essentially in the middle of your teeth. You want to be half of the mouthpiece on your top lip, half on the bottom, and then center left to right. This is an ideal situation. Not everybody's teeth will allow for this, but it is better if it's there. If it's not completely there because your teeth are slightly off, that's not necessarily a bad thing either. You can ask your teacher about that. As a trumpeter, we need to know the correct way to hold the instrument so that we can have the greatest chance of success. You really hold the instrument with your left hand. You don't actually hold it with your right hand. And with your left hand, you'll put either your pinky or your ring finger into the loop on the 3rd valve slide. And then your thumb on your left hand goes around the valve casing to the saddle on the 1st valve slide or just on top of the 1st valve slide. Then your right hand, you put the 3 fingers, the tips of the fingers, 1, 2, 3, onto the valves, and you put your thumb right underneath the lead pipe. You really don't need to put your pinky inside of the ring until you're changing mutes with it later. I like to play with it mainly outside of the ring. And then you'll hold it straight up and down, and then you're good to go. Before we play chunk number 1, we need to establish a Forte Dynamic. We achieve that by achieving the right amount of airflow, the correct type of airflow. I can practice that by using a syllable O, like you would say whoa, to breathe in. And then I'll hold my hand about 8 inches away from my face and I'll blow onto my hand. And that's the correct amount of air to achieve Forte. Here is scale chunk number 1, played with a Forte Dynamic and a full, rich sound.